Hey, we're back at Hobbit Racing Park, and we're going to look at the tune, the full tune here. The last time you saw this car, we were working on the body float. We were working on the chassis, right? And we were talking about all that Dremel work and the fine tuning of the sanding. But let's review the tune. Why not? Very simple tune in my opinion, but little goes a long way. So let's start right here. NSR screws. NSR screws that have a smooth shoulder. You can see there very nicely. You're going to get extra body float just from that. Not going to rub the chassis. Favorites of mine. Slot.it makes similar screws. Slot.it also makes, I believe, stainless screws that are Phillips as well, that are smooth shoulders. So we might as well start here while we're here. It's your preference when you dial in the float on your motor pod. If I hold this tight, you can see that I have a decent bit of float in here just from the flex of the strapping tape. Strapping tape gives a little bit of extra support for some quasi suspension. We have a Slotingplus 101001. Love these guides. NSR, super soft braid. If you remember before, CB34s are on the back here. So let's get inside. Oops, sorry about the camera tap there. 1027. I love to be at 1027. I love to be at 27. I love to be at 266. 263 is not bad if you're trying for 1129, depending on the gear mesh that you can get out of that. But 1027 is beautiful on the War Eagle River track at Hobbit Racing Park. MX16 that comes with these. This is a different one. This is not the one that came with it. I didn't quite trust the one. Remember, if you are familiar with this livery, this is the very first car livery made of the second car, if I understand correctly, ever made by Slot.it. This is a CA. Why don't we just read the box? And there you go. So that is the first livery in the A series of the SICA02. So the 956 here that you're looking at, and we'll get into what that means also for some of the things that were advances over the years as they changed chassis and changed motor pod. So again, in this instance, I think I have a .01 guide spacer under there, but otherwise this is as advertised from Slotingplus. The eyelets, I don't like putting grommet screws in there. I think it puts too much stress on the wires. So I've got that set up. This is the original wire silicone, I believe, that comes with it from Slot.it. I probably will replace that in the long run, but it seems to be getting good conductivity right now. Otherwise, really, I just made sure that I got, I think there's maybe a .01 or a .005s here. I think I offset something slightly for my preference. Again, it's got to be what matters for you, but I've got good spin. I've got just a hair of play in each direction. I think, like I said, I may have offset them based on what I was looking for performance on the track. And then really what it comes down to from there is the weight. If you're familiar with times at Hobbit Racing Park for Group C, or anything for that matter that is a pretty aerodynamic car that runs an MX16 23,000 RPM motor, again, intended at 12 volts, and we've got the volts down to 9.5 dialed in, and there are no motor performance issues as far as dialing it back down for the track. You can see the times as I'll pop some stuff on the screen here. So I was starting it like in the 5/8 when I had no weight in the car, but at least I was where I wanted to be, 1027. And what you'll notice about, again, remember the version of this car, right? This is the second car ever made, if I understand correctly. Very lucky to get my hands on this livery. Notice what's missing right here that all of you are probably going, wow, that's a really old motor pod. It is a really old motor pod. So, that's a great place to put, whether you want a piece of ballast or a magnet or whatnot, even though we don't use magnet racing here at Hobbit Racing Park. But you can put some weight there. So you know what? I said, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to adapt and improvise and overcome. There is an enormously thick piece of weight right there. It is pressed into play. It is glued in there. It is not hitting the gears. It is done as best I possibly can. I don't think there's any concern of it moving. And that piece right there, based on center of gravity and what I was looking for, very well may be the key piece of weight. Now they're all adding up to make the difference, so key piece of weight might be a little bit overstating. But anyway, you get the idea. I think there's some different thicknesses here. I think I might have 1.5 grams, and then even though that's thicker, or maybe 1 gram and then 1.5 grams or something thicker, and then this piece is, I think, the thickest piece, and this might be 3 or 4 grams here. Again, might work for you, might not. You might say, wow, you've got a lot of center of gravity over the rear wheels instead of that 60-40 split. This is what worked out for this car. And you could try and set up this exact same car if you're fortunate enough and you love this livery. It very well may not come out the same way, but this is what worked for me. The acceleration profile stays firmly planted on the ground, and we still get enough in the front to not allow that car to pop up in the air. Clearly, you can't put weight back here. I mean, you can if you really want to. If you want your car doing this on the track, then, that's your preference if we're drag racing. But, otherwise, well, even a drag race wouldn't work, right? You still got to get that guide touching those rails or touching that braid. But anyway, you get the idea. It's a very simple setup. You really can't go wrong with these slotted cars. They're just fantastic cars. They're so easy to tune because you've got so many possibilities. You can put the weight in a place that you're satisfactory with. You could put no weight in there at all and still probably drive a competitive car. But if you look at the times here, you'll see that this car came out as an exceptional tune. I'm super happy with it. You can see the last time that Group C was run and where this car is, albeit not in a competitive race just yet, but I'm very happy with it, and I'm going to run this in Group C next. So thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks. That's all for now at Hobbit Racing Park.